Hello. Some of our readers have requested an audio format to help them follow our blog posts more regularly.
Cultural and theological significance of the Magnificat in the Gospel of Luke. Today's post is not intending to offend anyone who has a strong attachment to the Magnificat in the Gospel of Luke, but the main intention is to deconstruct the then and today's understanding of the biblical text. To better understand the Gospel of Luke, which is traditionally attributed to a physician and companion of the Apostle Paul, is renowned for its meticulous attention to detail and historical context. The author, believed to have carefully researched his material, presents a narrative of the life and deeds of Jesus that is rich in cultural and theological significance. One of the most striking elements of this narrative is the Magnificat, a hymn of praise that is attributed to Mary, the mother of Jesus. For those of different faiths, perhaps unfamiliar with the term, the Magnificat is a song of jubilation found in Luke 1 verses 46 to 55. It is one of the earliest Christian hymns and has been an integral part of Christian liturgy for centuries. The hymn is sung by Mary when she visits her cousin Elizabeth, who was also miraculously pregnant with John the Baptist. The text of the Magnificat is a poetic declaration of God's greatness, His mercy, and His justice, as well as a prophetic vision of the reversal of worldly hierarchies. The Magnificat stands out not only because of its theological depth but also because of the context in which it is sung. Mary, a young girl, likely in her early teens, finds herself unexpectedly pregnant. In the context of her time, this situation would have been distraught with danger and social stigma. She was betrothed to Joseph, but the child she carried was not his. In a society where at the time honor and shame were paramount, a pregnancy outside of wedlock could have led to severe consequences, including public disgrace and even death. Yet the Magnificat is not a lament or a cry for help, it is a song of praise and confidence. Despite the precariousness of her situation, Mary proclaims, "From now on all generations will call me blessed." She makes this proclamation while seeking refuge in the house of her relatives, far from her home in Nazareth. The Gospel writer refers to Mary's stay in Elizabeth's house as a visit. However, in our current analysis, it would be unreasonable to consider a stay of 6 months as merely a visit. Even though it might seem she went into hiding, Mary's bold declaration reflects a profound trust in God's plan and a deep awareness of the cultural and religious significance of her role in the unfolding of salvation history. Rather than offering a different interpretation, the Magnificat is deeply rooted in the cultural and religious milieu of first-century Judea. During this period, Jewish society was under Roman occupation, and there was a strong expectation of a messianic figure who would liberate the people from foreign rule. The Jewish population longed for justice, the overthrow of their oppressors, and the restoration of the Davidic kingdom. Being part of this history of liberation was seen as a heroic act, both then and now. The Magnificat echoes these themes as Mary speaks of God scattering the proud, bringing down rulers from their thrones, and lifting up the humble. Moreover, the Magnificat draws heavily on the language and themes of the Hebrew scriptures, particularly the Psalms and the Song of Hannah in 1 Samuel 2 verses 1 to 10. By placing these words in the mouth of Mary, the author of Luke's Gospel connects the events of Jesus' life to the broader narrative of Israel's history and God's ongoing work of salvation. Mary, a young, humble woman, becomes a prophetic voice, proclaiming the advent of a new era in which God's justice and mercy will be made manifest. It is also interesting to note that in a patriarchal society where women had limited roles and were often marginalized, Mary emerges as a central figure in the story of salvation. The Magnificat can therefore be seen as a radical declaration that challenges the then existing social order. It speaks of a God who sides with the oppressed, who lifts up the lowly, and who fills the hungry with good things. This is not just a spiritual message but also one social one, reflecting the hopes and aspirations of a people longing for liberation. Luke, earlier portrayed as an educated researcher, presents Mary's situation in a way that reflects the precariousness of life for women in her time. As a young, unmarried woman who finds herself pregnant, Mary would have been vulnerable to social ostracism, rejection, and even violence. Yet the Gospel portrays her as a model of faith and courage. She accepts her role with humility and trust, even though it will lead her down a difficult and painful path. Another poignant aspect that might overshadow Mary's initial excitement is Simeon's prophecy in Luke 2 verses 25 to 35. His words, which foretell that a sword will pierce her soul, foreshadow the suffering Mary will endure as the mother of Jesus. Theologically, the Magnificat can be seen as a reflection of Luke's broader themes of reversal and fulfillment. Throughout his Gospel, Luke emphasizes the reversal of fortunes: the last shall be first, and the first shall be last. The Magnificat encapsulates this theme, celebrating a God who overturns worldly hierarchies and brings about a new order of justice and mercy. It also reflects the fulfillment of God's promises to Israel. Mary's song is filled with references to the covenantal promises made to Abraham and his descendants. By placing the Magnificat at the beginning of his Gospel, Luke signals that the coming of Jesus is the fulfillment of these ancient promises and the beginning of a new chapter in the story of God's relationship with humanity. I cannot emphasize enough that the Magnificat in the Gospel of Luke is not only a beautiful hymn of praise but also a powerful reflection of the cultural and theological shifts of its time. It captures the mood of a people living under oppression and longing for liberation, while also challenging the social norms of the day. Mary's song is a testament to the enduring power of faith and the transformative nature of God's justice and mercy. As such, it continues to resonate with readers and worshippers today, offering a vision of hope and a call to participate in the work of bringing about God's kingdom on earth. The Magnificat is a profound reflection of the culture and mood of first-century Judea, as well as a timeless expression of faith that speaks to the human condition across the ages. In Mary's song, we find a message of hope, courage, and the promise of a new world where God's justice reigns supreme. The Magnificat reminds us that, even in the face of adversity, faith in God's plan can lead to profound transformation and the ultimate fulfillment of his promises.